This would usually take like an hour to go, but you know, lazy people find new ways to make stuff easier. So I'm going to be going based off of categories, not sitting here breaking down every single one of these feats and then putting up against each other. I'm not Death Battle. And for the 2 video game characters, we going only based off of their franchise. And for the 2 anime characters, only anime. Because I'm not about to sit here and read the manga. I read it for some anime, but not when it got damn near 2,000 chapters. Ippo good, but not that good. So the categories are strength, speed, IQ, battle IQ, experience, stamina, endurance, durability, agility, and since they're boxers, defense and offense. So we're not here for 4 hours. I'm just gonna list a stat and then list a feat that I think is better than the rest. And before I start scaling them, they will be at the peaks of their games and anime. Keyword anime, no manga. And they're gonna be put at as much base level as they can be at. So no crazy ass gear for Joe and no crazy ass dragon fire whatever the fuck this is for Springman. He's just gonna have normal boxing gloves, and Joe gonna have to live up to his name for this one. I don't care if in the last episodes of the anime he doesn't. He's gearless Joe. And I'll leave the spring arms in because it's a mutation, ain't nothing to do with any outside help. And whoever has the most points, I'll put them up against everyone else and explain why I think they win. Alright, so strength. This is actually in between Little Mac and Springman because they have some crazy feats in the games. I'm not going into comic lore, just said that. But Little Mac fought Donkey Kong, winning multiple times, not counting Smash. That's literally just not fair. That's gonna make him completely fucking broken. As much as people will highball the ARM characters, I'm giving this to Little Mac, cause simple. Donkey Kong, he weighs more than the heaviest character in ARMS, and Mac punched him so hard he flew off the ground. Knockout! And Ippo and Joe aren't even in the conversation because they normally just fight normal people. And speaking of Joe, he gets speed since he's able to move faster than the AI that can detect his movement. He beat almost everyone in his anime just with speed and technique alone. Like, it's not even close. IQ goes to Ippo since he's the only one on this list that I can find that canonically finished high school. You can make any argument you want, but go search it up. They did not finish high school, as far as I know. I'm not about to sit here for hours making research. Now, battle IQ is in between Joe and Ippo, and I gotta give it to Joe. Ippo had to fight normal people with just different techniques, and sure, he's able to beat them with prior knowledge, training, and literally the best fucking coach in the world. But Joe, he is from the fucking trenches. He makes up his ideas on the spot. His coach helps him sometimes, but not as much as Joe, giving him new techniques and making him train for fucking days on end. Joe just does the normal training, get in the ring, and then figure out from there. In experience, surprisingly, this goes to Ippo, who is probably the youngest on this list. He's been boxing the longest. I can't find anything on Little Mac or Springman. And Joe's backstory is pretty much hidden for the entirety of Megalobox. So ain't much I can do there. I found out that he's been boxing for at least a year. Stamina has to go to Joe since he's fought the longest. Like in this illegal ass boxing he does, it doesn't end until someone gets knocked out. So he went 13 rounds. Ippo has never even gone a full 12. He's gone like 7 and was tired. Springman has to get knockouts. I'm pretty sure there's no rounds in there. And Little Mac can only go 3 rounds. Endurance, this one is in between Joe and Little Mac, because Joe went 13 rounds with the best boxer in the world and won, and Little Mac went 3 rounds with Donkey Kong, a 500-pound gorilla, and won. So I'm gonna have to give a point to both of them. And durability, like I just said, he fought Donkey Kong for 3 rounds. Agility goes to Springman and Joe. Joe is the fastest on this list with the best footwork. It ain't even close, and Springman can literally jump while fighting people on that anime shit. And defense goes to Joe. He finished almost all of his fights by counterpunch, and the entirety of the fight beforehand is just him dodging. Ippo, Mac, and Spring Mac sometimes can go fights without dodging even once. And offense goes to Ippo. He just has a larger kit of things to use against people, knows how to land his punches, and he's the 3rd strongest on his list. And the points are as follows. Springman with 1, Ippo with 3, Little Mac with 3, and Joe winning with double their score having 6. Joe just has too much defense, battle IQ, technique, and skill, plus the speed to back it up. I'm gonna run through these real quick since it's not even fair. Springman, Joe would just back all the way up, bait him into punching, dodge, since I imagine it wouldn't be that hard to dodge, and run up to him, and at that point, it's just however Joe feels like finishing him. And Little Mac, Joe was prideful, but he ain't stupid. I feel like he'd underestimate him, then get hit, and then immediately switch his plan. Joe would underestimate him since he's so small, and he just drag the rounds out to like the 5th or 6th, because this is what Mac looks like if he takes too much damage in like the 1st round. I'm pretty sure he'd be able to tire him out, just sticking to a hit and run tactic. I mean, Mac probably wouldn't even be let out of his corner because of how tired and injured he'd be. Now next is Ippo. Ippo is probably the hardest challenge on here because he has a slight edge because he fought Miata and beat him. Someone damn near exactly like Joe. But he probably do the same thing he did to Mac anyway. Just outlast him, then counterpunch him because, number one, he's obviously more skilled and faster than Miata. I shouldn't even have to point that out. But in the fight against Kenta, it's shown Ippo can lose to points if a guy has good enough defense, just hitting him and moving. And when he fought good enough against Dante, he lost because he was more skilled. And no doubt, Joe is more faster. He has more battle IQ than Dante. And he has more skill than Dante since he has to fight robots and Dante has to fight normal people. If you actually watch the fight, all of the skills Dante pulls out, Joe does that, but he has to do it against robots. So obviously, it wouldn't even be close. And sure, Ippo can land some power punches on Joe, but I don't think it's enough to stop him because Joe damn near dies in his ring multiple times, but gets right back up. So I think he would bait him into doing power punches, get him more tired, and just knock him out.